Hey, hi Tracy.
Hi there.
Time for our weekly or bi-weekly talk about real estate in the Albuquerque area. And this week we wanted to talk about vacation rentals, short-term rentals, right?
That's right. And we've got Paul here with us. Welcome. Thanks for joining us again.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
yeah. Welcome Facebook Live. So, we're talking about short-term rentals. So, vacation rentals, properties that that aren't, maybe 6 months or a year long rental. So, um,
Yeah, so Paul, you had some questions. So Paul, you help us out with different marketing strategies, different marketing things. And one of the things you do is surveys. And in this case, people have been asking about these short-term rentals and what do they mean? Are they worth investing in? Is it a good option over your traditional rental type home? And so anyway, what was the questions you came up with?
Yeah, exactly. So the first question that I have for you guys is who is the ideal investor?
You take that?
Sure. The ideal investor can be just about anybody, right? Anybody that's thinking about an investment property might want to look at a short term rental versus a long term rental. So,
And
really,
yeah, and what we've seen is that the short-term rentals, although maybe they may be vacant 50% of the time, your return is going to be much higher. And a lot of calculations that I've run before, it's about double the income. Of course, you've got a lot more maintenance and stuff to go along with that, and we'll get to that in a
yeah,
second.
a lot more involved.
Absolutely. So my second question here is, does the part of town matter?
Does it matter? It's interesting because when we look and see where these vacation rentals are, so these are houses that are, or not just houses, they're all sorts of properties from a cabin in the Jemez to a cabin in the East Mountains to a room in a house, maybe downtown, right, Tego?
Yeah, or of course, the popular vacation spots around Albuquerque, Old Town, maybe up by the tram, but even in more of the what we would call suburban Northeast Heights areas like that, are very popular.
Right. So we're seeing them everywhere. So, um, any part of town, even out of town, when we look online on like a vacation rental by owner site or Airbnb,
Right.
you'll see a huge variety of locations, prices, and types of properties.
And we saw about 300 homes when we were looking just, in the pool at any given time. Right. Actually, I think I saw up to like 1900 one time total in our market. A
Yeah,
lot.
it could be. I just picked a few dates and got
Yeah.
on a few of the different rental sites and looked to see what was out there. And, I looked for a couple dates in November, not during Balloon Fiesta, not during the
Yeah.
holidays,
Yeah.
just kind of a general time. There was 300 in the metro area. And it was interesting, the variety and,
Sure.
and the price points.
So what are
So,
some examples?
so um, let's see. So there was one house that was over 1,000 a night. It had 16 room for 16 people, and all of the comments
Oh,
were
wow.
things like corporate retreat, family getaway, came for a wedding, and everybody could stay in the same place.
Hmm.
So it was great. And when you think about it, if you have to have 5 hotel rooms, a
Sure.
thousand a night might be the same or less. Otherwise, a room in a house in Old Town,
Yeah.
or a guest
Yeah.
house behind a house in the North Valley, or a house in the Northeast Heights. So lots of different options out there.
Yeah. So Paul, you had another question for us?
Yes, you kind of touched on it earlier with mentioning how many properties you guys have just seen in general, but is there a true market for it in Albuquerque?
We do, and I think I'll go deeper than that. Is there a market for it as an investment? So if you're somebody, you either own a property that you're going to rent, or you're thinking of buying a rental property, you can do some calculations and figure it both ways. Again, like I say, we've seen numbers anywhere from double the amount of income to I look at some examples. So, your average 3 bedroom, 2 bath house in the Northeast Heights of Albuquerque is going to be $1,200 to $1,300 a month. That's a standard 1 year lease. On that same house, you might get $150 a night, but you got to take into account the vacancies. So, and then the cost of cleaning, the cost of listing it on the sites like VRBO and Airbnb and HomeAway, and there's a whole bunch of them out there, right?
Right.
And so, you got to balance both sides, and people tend to do pretty well with them, though, that do it, especially if they don't mind doing the maintenance and cleaning themselves. That alone could cost you $1,000 a month if you're paying a management company to do it for you.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good to know. My last question I had for you guys was, are there opportunities for executive rentals?
I'll take this one.
Yeah, you go. You know about that more than I do. Yeah.
Executive rentals are in big demand. And what I think of as an executive rental is a property that maybe somebody's going to be in town for a month and they want to live in a house or a home, not necessarily a standalone house, but a home, and that it's got all the comforts of being in a home versus staying in a hotel for a month. And so absolutely, we actually have what I would consider a shortage of that. But now with all the properties that are on VRBO and Airbnb and HomeAway,
Right.
people can rent them by the month, but a lot of times somebody's already rented a few days here and there. So getting a month at a time can be difficult. So yes, there's definitely a demand for that.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Excellent. Any final thoughts then?
Tracy?
We looked at some of the properties that have sold in the last year and what's in our multiple listing service for sale right now for someone who's thinking of investing in a property and maybe having it as a short-term rental. So it's interesting, we find properties in the old town or the downtown area closer to the zoo. There's one right now for $139,900 that's been completely remodeled. It's a cute little house, and it's $139,000. So depending on how many nights you can rent that out, it could be a really good opportunity. But there was about 70 in the MLS that were literally saying would be great Airbnb or vacation rental, or already has established clientele and already has been a rental.
Yeah.
So some of them are actually being sold furnished and ready to go.
There you go. Exactly. And of course, last word is, of course, if you're interested in looking at something like that, reach out to us. Obviously happy to help and help you analyze what's out there.
Great. Thanks for watching.